This is the air system from an Eclipse computerized mat cutter. Over on this side we have the air prep system. Air comes in through your hose, through a quick couple, into a sleeve valve. This sleeve valve, this portion of the sleeve valve slides up or down to turn the air on or off. This is a filter regulator with a gauge. This is a cross block that allows air to flow from this regulator over to this regulator. This is a regulator for the cutting head. No filter because that's done over here. This is the regulator for the clamps. In the middle is a pressure switch, so the machine knows it's okay to run if you have air pressure and not to run if you don't have air pressure. This fitting directs the air that's at the first regulated by the first regulator over to this valve. This valve then runs the clamp circuit. All right, the second regulator, the air comes out of here. It's been regulated down to a lower pressure to go to this valve, which is your cutting head valve, and then up these lines to your cutting head air cylinder. Your cutting head air cylinder has a flow control valve in the bottom fitting, which is adjusted. It's like an air brake. It makes the cylinder go out slow and retract fast. This is a swivel coupling that's in the cutting head, so that keeps the air cylinder from spinning and allows for misalignment due to tolerances in manufacturing inside the cutting head. I've got a black line, which represents the line that has pressure in it by default when the system is turned on, and the clear line has no pressure in it. So by default, when you turn this valve on, you want air to flow through here and into this bottom fitting and suck the cutting head up off the table in preparation for resetting and moving. Now if we go back to the circuit, when we turn this on, air goes in here, so this line has pressure. It goes to this valve, it automatically goes through to this line, and it goes into the bottom of all the clamps so that the clamps are up by default when you start the machine until you turn, the clamp switch on, and then air pressure will switch to the white line and pull the clamps down. Each valve has a muffler, brass muffler, that doesn't need tape on the fitting when you put the muffler in. These are the solenoids. They're the electric part which activates the valve by the motion controller or a switch. This is the connection where the wires come in, and it is plugged in to the solenoid like this. I have this one taken apart just to show you the three parts that are in this fitting, because when this is shipped, this, like in a replacement, like if you buy a new valve, it'll be shipped like this. So you'll have to take these three parts apart and you'll have to flip this over in order to use it properly so that the wires come out the side and not where the muffler is. All right, so this is how this system works. Now, on the end of the valve, you can see that little white hole right there. That's actually the manual override. If you push in on that with something small like a screwdriver or an Allen wrench, it will manually activate the valve. There's another video on that on our machine. So let's turn this on. So we'll slide this sleeve valve up, and you can see now we're at 80 psi and 40 psi. And you can see that the air cylinders on the clamps all have these wrench flats right here, a 7/32 wrench, so you can unscrew the air cylinder from the clamp. And that's a stroke right there, 1/4 of an inch. And right now they're all sticking up. If in this situation you have air leaking from this muffler, that indicates that one of these air cylinders is bad and they'll need to be individually tested and replaced. Each clamp on a machine has 2 air cylinders running it. On a 40x60 you have 1 clamp on the left side and 2 clamps along the bottom. On a 32x40 you have 2 clamps on, or 1 clamp on the side and 1 clamp on the bottom, and so therefore you have 2 less cylinders. So if I push this manual override in, see if I can do this one-handed. You can see all the, and you can hear the air come out of the exhaust. Same with this one. If I push on the manual override, you can see the head come out. See how it comes out slow and then goes back fast? That's because of that flow control valve. The flow control valve should be closed all the way and then open 1.5 to 2 turns. So that's an overview of the clamps, the pneumatic system for an Eclipse computerized mat cutter.